Yes, everyone, what's going on? My name is Stephen Howson, and this is a shortlist. We're going to be looking at the potential Paul Pogba replacements. Now, there's speculation regarding the future of him. It seems like it's died down slightly. I think a lot of people are on the sort of mind frame that he probably can't get out of Old Trafford because the transfer market is probably going to be a completely different beast to what it's been in previous windows. That being the case, I think he probably needs to sign a contract. If he signs a contract, he might stick around. But there's always going to be the talk about him going. Now, if he goes, United are massively short in the midfield area. Do United go with someone who is like for like? Personally, I already think that Bruno was sort of a replacement for Pogba in terms of what he offers the team. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at Pogba staying or going, and then we're going to look at a few players that could fill his boots or offer something a little bit different to Manchester United. So Paul Pogba then. Is Paul Pogba leaving Manchester United? Now, he's played a massive bit part to this season. It's been frustrating that we've not been able to use him. Was he rushed back? Has he deliberately delayed his return? Is he as injured as everybody thinks? All of the above have been swirling around people's minds. His attitude to being injured and the fact that his brothers and his agent have been coming out bumping their gums constantly doesn't add up to a warm, fuzzy, rosy feeling that all is well with Manchester United and Paul Pogba. Realistically, there's three options for Paul Pogba. You're looking at Juventus, you're looking at Real Madrid, and you're looking at staying at Manchester United. I don't think there's anywhere in England that could take him or that United would be happy to sell him to. I don't think anywhere in Germany would be able to afford him. And I think outside of Juventus, there's probably nowhere in Italy. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Paris, they're the three clubs that are always sort of lumped in together when it comes to talking about people who are likely to spend money. Sounds like Barcelona are financially struggling a little bit this season. It even sounds like Real Madrid might be, but we all know that doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Which might mean Juventus, which might mean some sort of hybrid swap deal, which might mean something or other. But you're looking at Real Madrid and Juventus as the probable two suitors for him. And there hasn't been a lot of talk that either of those are massively interested. Maybe Juventus are ahead of the moment a little bit. But there's not been a lot of talk to suggest that this is a move that's about to take place. He's 27 now. He's entering his probable last massive move of his career. So this is a big decision for Paul Pogba. I don't see United allowing him to leave on a free. I think they will try and cash in or they'll make him extend his contract. It's a big summer for him. It's a big decision for him. And it's a big decision for Manchester United. Because I think a lot of our rebuilding plans rely on the transfer fee that's coming in for Pogba. I think he probably goes. I think we probably end up somehow doing some sort of a deal. And I think Juventus is probably the destination where he's likely to end up. So then, let's look at some of the potential replacements. Now, I've made no secret on this channel or any other channel that I've been on and been bumping my gums. Saul Niguez is a player that I would love to see in a United shirt. Very excited at the possible link-up that we could be seeing there. Reports in Spain have been linking him with a move to Old Trafford. This has really emerged this month. Probably down to the sheer quality of footballer. Ball winner. Great passing range, unbelievable work ethic, perfect for what Manchester United need and what Manchester United want. Diego Simeone demands Atletico Madrid tireless, aggressive, relentless without the ball, and Niguez fits that perfectly. Manchester United could do with a character like that in midfield. If you look at United's stats under Ole, with Ander Herrera and without Ander Herrera, you'll see that he was such a big part of that early surge that Manchester United had when Ole took the job. I think once it was decided Ander Herrera was going, once he told the club he was going, his injury, that I'm leaving soon-itis, that a few players have had in the last couple of years at Old Trafford, I think United really tapered off massively. I don't think it was entirely down to Ander Herrera, because I think there's other players that was being told they was getting rid of as well. But I think it was a factor. For me, Saul Niguez is the evolution of Ander Herrera. He's the same sort of player. He's probably better with the ball. He's definitely better with the ball at his feet. But he's got the same sort of mentality, the same sort of shithousery, the same sort of like just on the right side of being aggressive without being seen as a thug. Very good footballer, quite versatile in the different roles that he fills for both Spain and for Atletico Madrid. He works perfectly in the counter-attacking style that Simeone uses, and I think he would fit perfectly into what Solskjaer's looking to do in a similar sort of role. He's also proven he can do it at different levels. Yes, he plays in Spain, and yes, it might not be the strongest league, but there's been some belting players that have come from Spain, and also he's doing it as a real ball player for the Spanish national team, and you've got to be a hell of a player to be able to play in midfield for Spain. Next up then is Donny van der Beek. Now, we thought it would happen, and it happened. We saw that Ajax team that did so well in the Champions League absolutely picked to pieces. We saw De Ligt move on, we saw De Jong moved on, Ziyech looks like he's moving on, and Van der Beek could be next. Still just 23, he's contributed with fine form to this current campaign, scoring 10 goals, providing 11 assists for Ajax. And Van der Sar has confirmed that he will be allowed to pursue a big move this summer. If United were to pursue him, and we were to be the club that he could go to in that big money move, United would be getting a highly dynamic player, creativity on the ball, and an unbelievable work rate. I think when you look at the makeup of a lot of Solskjaer's signings since he's been at the club, work rate is fundamental to that. Even your creative players like Bruno Fernandes, the work rate's there. There was a lot of joy in watching Bruno at Old Trafford and seeing him covering at left back and dropping into the back line in defence and really doing the hard yards for everybody else. That is what makes the difference in a player. That's what makes a player really start to tick. A potential problem, which is the same for a couple of these signings, could be Solskjaer's 4-2-3-1 system, but what makes him such an exciting player to watch is the ability to pick the ball up from deep and initiate attacks. So I think he probably could do it, but I think much like the rest of the players that are in this list, and even Paul Pogba himself, if he was to play in this current United side, I do think a formational change is on the cards. So we will see. No denying the quality that he's got. Heavily reported interest from Real Madrid. Could be a very likely destination. Maybe they see him as someone that's probably cheaper to get hold of and perhaps not as much baggage as Paul Pogba. So, Donny van der Beek in the 8 for Manchester United. Like to see it happen. I think we're going to get pipped at the post with someone else taking him on now. Someone that should be familiar to most of you is Youri Tielemans. I think United were also in for him last summer when we signed Harry Maguire, and I think we played the political pawn quite well in this. Sometimes you have to give up on a target because what a lot of people don't seem to understand, I don't think, is when it comes to transfer negotiations, relationships are the most important thing. You can't just walk around bullying everybody because you're not going to have a relationship and everyone's going to think you're a dick. So what you have to do is you have to give and take. As part of the negotiation for Harry Maguire, maybe our interest in Youri Tielemans last summer was purely political. Maybe it was real. Either way, it's a nice political tool that United have at their disposal when they say, do you know what? Let Harry Maguire go for a decent price and we'll end our interest in Tielemans and give you a free run at him. That means Leicester get something that they want and we get something that we want. That's what it's all about. It's about building relationships. You can't sit there in a negotiation with the gaffer at Leicester and be like, no, we are having Harry Maguire and we're going to fucking take him as well. Who else are you looking at? It's not going to go down well. So Youri Tielemans, by now we should know what we're going to get. We're going to get a very dynamic number 8. We're going to get someone who is aggressive. We're going to get someone who knows the Premier League, which I think people probably over-egg the importance of that, but I do believe it is important that players understand that when they're coming to the Premier League, they're not going to have time on the ball like they do in some other leagues. We've seen Tielemans is fine with that. He earned rave reviews at every single club that he's been at, from Anderlecht to Monaco, now Leicester. United have been credited with different interest in him. All the way throughout his career, he's been someone that United have been linked with. It's really easy to see why elite clubs would be interested in someone. He's only 23, but he's got a lot of experience under his belt. Contributions for Leicester have been somewhat overlooked this season due to the massive media hype around Maddison, and Jamie Vardy's been banging the goals in as well. Only Harvey Barnes has provided more Premier League assists than Tielemans for Leicester this season, and that's 5 versus 6, on their way to third in the table. He's been fantastic for them this season. There aren't many midfielders who can fit in being defensive-minded and also box-to-box, or even potentially as a number 10. Versatility is what Tielemans would offer Manchester United. And I think as we switch from 4-2-3-1, possibly even still playing 4-2-3-1 in some games, but definitely going to be looking towards a 4-3-3 in others. Someone that's got the ability to play a number of roles in midfield and do them to a high level would be big. I have no doubts that he would fit in at United, mentality-wise, work ethic-wise, all the rest of it. The way Rodgers had him patrolling in midfield, in between Ndidi and Maddison, that's what a proper number 8's meant to do. Meant to be the bridge and the link between those two players. I'd love him at United, and I do think he could be good. But what sort of price are you looking at? You go to any team in the Premier League full stop, any team in the top half, any team in the top 4 of the Premier League, I think 100 million is a starting place for anybody. They just blurt it out like they've got Tourette's. How much for 100 million? Who are you talking about? Oh, okay. So I think you're going to have to work very hard to get him, and it might not be the best option to go with someone that's going to cost us so much money. But Tielemans should be on any consideration that United are looking at. Now, finally, a bit of a blast from the past for us. It was about 3 years ago that we was talking about this guy, Houssem Aouar. Now, this is a player that hasn't really particularly been linked with Manchester United, but it's one that I've been a fan of for a few years, and he is blossoming into a right player. He really reminds me of Paul Pogba in terms of how he plays. Might be a touch quicker with the ball at his feet. So I think Pogba likes to skill out players. Aouar seems to have that Bruno Fernandes play it early kind of vibe about him. According to reports in France, Lyon are looking to sell him if they can get around 50 million euros for him, which is like 45 million pound. Despite Lyon disappointing this season in Ligue 1, he's been one of the lights of the campaign. He's been absolutely fantastic still for him. He's contributed 16 goals in all competitions from midfield, including 4 in 5 in the Champions League. So don't talk to me about Farmers League. Champions League, 4 in 5 from midfield. Pretty good. And they did have tough opposition where they had RB Leipzig and Juventus as well. So he doesn't really boast Pogba's physical attributes. If anything, he would be closer to Bruno Fernandes in his physical stature. But he could be as like for like in terms of the qualities that he offers on the pitch and on the ball. The way he loves to operate in sort of that left half channel, the passing range, the likes to shoot from distance. When you watch him play, you just feel like there's a Paul Pogba tribute act going on in front of you at quite a high level as well. Not like a cheap budget version, but like someone who's actually doing what Paul Pogba does for the sort of money that he's available for. I would definitely be looking to pick him up. He went head-to-head with Tielemans last season, completed more take-ons, key passes, provided more assists in 90 minutes than Tielemans did whilst operating in the same sort of role. Versatility as well, just one of the few impressive aspects of his game. He can feature deep, and we can see him push further up as an 8, sometimes even on the left wing. So that sort of versatility, handy. Don't think he comes too cheap, but if it's in the region of 40-50 million, that's just the standard price of anybody at the moment, isn't it? So let me know in the comments. Those are a few players that I think United could look at as potential Paul Pogba replacements if he goes, and I don't think there's any sort of certainty on that whatsoever. But let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.